with me. I know I was born in the 60s, and I know for a fact growing up in that era, from the 70s, a lot of stereotype was held on me, and I experienced a lot of it. I grew from it, but I tried to warn my kids about it. I warned other people about it. They started talking about it. I remember one incident, I went to this restaurant on Dawson Street. It's gone now. It had a big board in front of it. Can't think of the name of it. But when I walked in early for my family, that's in the bathroom, the lady maid told me to get out. I mean, plain and simple, because the restaurant was full of whites. And then my dad came in with the rest of us, and I told her to sit up towards me. She walked off, and another man had to come in and sit us down. Well, everybody else had glass cup. They gave us plastic cups. But that's one thing. My brother and sister probably remember that, but I remember it very well. Um, but the thing is, we as Americans say we're free, we love each other and all that. But we got a long way to go. It's still hard out here when it comes to being stereotyped or, like I said, a form of racism. I'm gonna jump ahead. Like the other day, I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I went to the hotel to use the bathroom because close. I had to use the bathroom real bad. I had been drinking water, and I really had to use it. I walked in, and the lady kept waiting on everybody, and she finally got to me after about four people, and I was ahead of them. But I just used the bathroom. I let the customers go first. She was getting customers, and I asked, and she kind of looked me up and down, and two people behind me was too. I could tell. They had a floppy hat and just some shirt and pants. It wasn't exciting to be on, but I just gotta use your bathroom, man, please. And the whole time before I could even finish, she was shaking her head no. She said, I'm sorry. You know, my manager said, you can't, nobody can use that bathroom. She don't care if everybody being attacked by baboons. Well, why would she say that instead of saying, we can't use the bathroom, people are not? Because of tenants here. I get that part when you said that about baboons. And they all started laughing. I just walked out because more people came to her and she said it twice. So the thing is, you know, I'm not going to call out Motel 6 on Orange Street Boulevard. But the thing is, it was just the way you addressed me, handled me, instead of saying, I said, ma'am, and everything. If I can't say, look here, lady, I'm going to use the bathroom or not, I'm doing it on here on the floor. I didn't do that. I just asked very properly. I waited till she took care of all the customers. And I said, can I use it? She was shaking her head, nope, before I can get it out. And then she made the comment, and then when I walked, she said, I'll just be honest. She said, I don't care if a bunch of baboons came in here attacking everybody. And they were laughing. But why don't you use that type of thing as baboon to stereotype me? Instead of saying, well, sir, we can't use the bathroom. People aren't tenants here or rent a room here. I get that, if that's the case. But the way you did it, you automatically had me singled out because you kept skipping me. Which, like I said, I didn't have no issue with that because there were people renting rooms. It was at a point in time I filled out a job one time for FedEx before I got the post office. And I went, put the application in, a friend of mine told me to go over there. And as soon as I walked in, the lady asked what I wanted. I said, I came for a job application. And, she gave every application except me. And then finally I said, can I get one? Another guy had to give it to. She walked off. So I was stereotyped right then and there. As soon as I filled out the application, the guy said, I'm going to put yours on top. Well, I ended up leaving when I can. When I left, I came back about 20 some minutes later. I said, hey, I said, have my application. He said, right here on top. He said, he looked through it. He kept going through it. He said, what's your name? Dexter Woods. I hadn't been gone 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. He found it. The lady had came back and put it on the bottom. So is stereotype type racism? Absolutely. It is. A lot of you who grown up, you see these things, but a lot of people ignore it. A lot of people want to try to fight somebody for it. Don't get me wrong, it's very temperamental. You would want to put somebody in their proper place, but you know how that ends up. Another time, matter of fact, I went to a dealership and went to the dealership and I was going to buy this truck, which I ended up buying. And when I bought it, I heard the other, and I had to use the color, the other white dealer talking about every time we want to solve. I'm you a full tank of gas. And and I was like, okay, well, I'm bound to call us a year younger, same year, but just had a little more miles the same year. That guy bought an older car. And he said, I'm going to take you now. So when I got my truck, I said, oh, what was truck got no gas in it? He said, oh, we won't put no gas. I said, no, I just heard him tell that guy he gets a full tank of gas. And so he said, well, we don't really get on that. Wait a minute. How does he get one and I don't? And sure enough, they wouldn't give it to me. And when I complained, I had to go pick the camper shell up for it, when I came back and I went to head manager to get about the gas part, they only put me a half tank of gas, which, still, but it's just the whole point. I was stereotyped for my color. He got the door wide open, but this guy, like, my deal, like it was a problem. But I know he heard it because matter of fact, he was in there when the guy was saying that because he went there to get the copies and he went to get a copy out of the finance room because I was right next door to the finance room. So the thing is, I was stereotyped because of me being black to stereotype this guy being white. What's the difference? That guy probably didn't know what happened to me. The other customer, he probably didn't know what happened to me. But the thing is, the guy said, well, we don't do that. I'm buying a brand new truck from you guys. It was a 16 model, not mistaken. Might have been about 16. And it was a year of 16. So they only had like 20,000 miles, so it was practically brand new. This guy's buying like a 2011 Ford Explorer. So, and this is the second time that happened like that. So I'm like, what's the deal? Then the owner was there at the dealership because I seen more commercials. And we was talking about it. He walked off. He didn't say, hey, take care of him or nothing. So the thing is, when you get out to these situations now, thank God I grew up, my mother teaching me how to handle those things. A lot of us, we don't know how to handle stuff like that. And it's hard to bear when you're not properly trained mindset to handle that type of thing. But some people, like I said, some people want to get there and put you in the place you don't need to be at early. Some people don't. But at that point, I thank God my mother trained me how to handle stereotype of racism. Matter of fact, we had went to, and years ago, we had went to a place called the Hungry Owl off Children's Road, Cottage Hill. We got there. The lady set it to the side and said, oh, get your table in a minute. Well, about 3 or 4 couples came in behind us, white couples came in, and they kept sitting them down. And so finally, I asked the lady, I said, how long is it going to be before we get a seat? Oh, well, we're waiting to get you one. But I saw this couple leave, nobody, they sat them down. I was like, man, they just got this sitting down. I said, well, when are we going to get a seat? Oh, just give me a little patience. So she didn't say they had a reservation, what? So we left. But I promise you, a few months later, that place was shut down. It was shut down. Because how many people they did like that on color? How many people they stereotype? Because even though it's more not no cross burners and all this stuff, it's still there. It's still there. A lot of people get so upset, when you talk about the president and his administration. But hey, it is what it is. You have to see it for what it is. But I can't worry about a lot of stuff he does. I'm not in Washington, D.C., or I can't handle that. I have to worry about what's in my house right now. How to teach my kids, how to teach my family to go against being stereotyped. Because it happens. No matter what, it happens. It happens that way. So even in our own race, we do it to each other sometimes as well. So we have to really be mindful of what we say and what we do and be patient in what we do. There was one incident that we were going out of town. And certain people say, hey, watch how you stop in these certain cities. You got to be careful of where you're stopping at. And that is true, because you have to be careful. I know everybody says, oh, you got the sundown towns and all that, sundown towns. You can't be caught this time. And a lot of people get afraid of that. So guess what? That's still a form of racism. Guess who's being stereotyped? People of color. So like I said, I try to be careful in the decisions I make, the things I do. I try to make sure that at all points and all time is that um, I make sure I check my surroundings. I make sure I make the careful steps because you can never tell, who's grading your test properly. Matter of fact, I can go with that. I went to Shaw High School, and my teacher was black, but she loved, and I'm just being honest. You can talk about what you, but she loved the white race, which was fine, whatever. But don't treat me fair as well. Well, I knew I was one of the top person in that class because hey, you challenged me in grades, so I was going to knock the grades out of the box. The reason why I was so high in grades, time I senior, I only had to get 2 credits in my senior year back then. That's how far I was ahead. And so me and this guy, and I want to call his name because he probably watching. He knows him very well. I know him as well. We had seen high school, but we were great friends. And she gave me a D and gave him an A, and I know I gave him some majority of the answers. So he showed me his test. He said, "Man, look here, man. We compared our tests," and I was like, "Man." So because it was only like two blacks in it, maybe three, and when we confronted her about it, she, basically told him to sit down, chewed me up, told me to go to the office. I went to the office, and tried to explain myself. Well, the principal, assistant principal time, Mr. Gray, you know, he wanted to give me a pet and say I was talking back. I was not. So he went upstairs and came back, and he shut the door and he said, "You know what, son? It's a shame." He would never say anything. He said, "Just a shame." He said, "But I'm gonna let you go." He said, "But it's just a shame." He said, it's amazing. This is his words. He said, "It's amazing." I'm paraphrasing a few of them, how our own stereotype on. He said, you don't go to her class, you go to the gym. He said, "But don't go back to her class because I got kicked out." He said, "It's just a shame." And the thing was, I knew I had studied. I knew I gave him majority of the answers because I was done early. We had the same test, but she failed me because I was kicking everybody behind that class. And she was a black teacher, and it was like three blacks, and the rest of them was kind of failed. So I guess she was happy with that. But I got stereotyped by my own color at that time. So I'm not saying it's all whites, but I'm saying good money. But it was just a shame that I worked so hard to get where I was and get to pass that test and still was rejected on my own. And I'm not saying I was supposed to be favored because I was black. I'm not saying that. I want to be favored because I earned it. It's a different thing. I earned that grade, but I was still stereotyped. So, um, and one thing too, I don't know if it ever happened to you guys. I saw a friend of mine a couple of years ago, it might have been last year, and he was so skinny in school. Man, he gained a lot of weight. Yep, you see somebody back when you're young, y'all young, fit, oh man. When you get old, you're like, man. So he saw me and said, "Man, God damn, you done got big." Ooh. And I was like, maybe I'm wearing a mirror on my shirt because, but I didn't come back with that with him. But he just automatically, called me fat in a way. He didn't say fat, he said it. I'm like, you weren't nothing like that in school. All of us was. We weren't like that, of course, because your body tone changed. We're young, your testosterone, whatever in your body keeps the fat off. You stay in shape. As you get older, all the food you ate back then comes back. So the thing is, not saying that it is, but the all the stuff inside your body starts to spread. They call it what, middle age spread, whatever it is. But the thing is, he should have been mindful of what he said because he should have looked in the mirror before he left the house. So I could have called him a walking turd, which he was huge because he was so skinny in school. Now if he came and say, "Man, oh man, hadn't seen you in a long time," yeah, but you automatically called me fat because I guess because I was so toned in school. But hey, I knew I was totally different. I'm not young anymore. No, I'm not. I'm not 17. We jog every day, did all the pull-ups, eat McDonald's all day, and still your body stay the same. It's not like that now. It's totally different. But he stereotyped me right then and there for my weight. It was, and you gotta be mindful who you talk to like that because you can insult someone like that and get them a setback. They probably didn't think, "Hey, somebody expired. Hey, I'm confident, I'm losing weight," and you go make a comment like that. But that's still a form of being stereotyped. So the thing is, do we all do it? I think we have a lot of it in us. You know, sometimes I have to catch myself, but I make sure I don't say anything because I don't want to hurt anyone mentally or physically. So we have just, like I said again, be mindful of things we say, how we present ourselves, how we carry ourselves, because you don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what kind of physical thing they're going through, what kind of setback they're having. Uh, I see Miss Easley is on as faithful as well. I know your daughter couldn't make today, but Miss Easley. I see Miss Jake is on, Tasha. So the thing is, we have to be completely thoughtful of what the things we say and how we say it. Because, like I said, being stereotyped is very, very crucial. Like I said, you never know who's going to receive it whichever way. And you got to have some type of respect on that part as well. And in one instance, I was a teenager and I went to Chickasaw. I was probably about 16 years old, and as soon as you get into that curve going to the main strip, I wanted to get some air, and the man came and snatched the hose out of my hand. And I was like, I just got some air. The man got some air. He said, "Get up out here, boy." I was like, "He's got some air." He said, "Get up out here before I get somebody to ram that car out of here." And I was like, he said, "You can pay for it." I was like, "That it says free air on the sign." So finally, I just threw my hands up, jumped in the car, and left. So yes, I was stereotyped, but he just let that guy walk by. He was white, and I was black. So the thing is, I got stereotyped on that. You know, we get stereotyped on our own job as well. So we have to be very careful of what we say. You never tell what somebody come back and do to. You know, you can stereotype somebody. You might think it's innocent. You might be laughing, joking about it. But you gotta watch. Be careful of it, because you can't never tell. Somebody might go back home, get a gun, come back and ram that whole place. So in that point of the sense, like I said, I won't be long today. Like I said, I'm by myself. You know, everybody don't have input on. I'm just telling my experience on it. I went and rented a tuxedo for a wedding. Well, I was inspired his wedding, and the tuxedo place I went to, you know, the guy was telling everybody, "Hey, you know, I'm sitting there waiting to check out about 5 people ahead of me." You know, and he was like, "Hey, have a good prom, have this. And so he got to me and he said, "If anything comes back dirty, this and other, you have to pay this. I was like, "Okay." He didn't say it to the ones ahead of me, which wasn't black. He only said it to me. He broke the entire rule book down to me. It comes back this, come back this, come back that. I had to pay all this fee. And I'm like, right, like I'm finna go, jump in the back of the truck, go find a mud pile, roll around in it, and jump back on the back of the truck, and then bring it back to him. You know, and I always like to give back to him, one friend of mine with. I promise you. Here's the thing about me. If I get bad service or bad thing, hey, I don't want to patronize you. I'm not going to. If I'm stereotyped, everybody know, my family know, we're walking out. I'm not going to sit here and have you stereotype, and then you want me to sit here and pay for your business to make sure you get a paycheck. That won't happen. So, like I said, I try to be mindful of everything I say, everything I do, watch how I carry myself, watch exactly what I say, because sometimes you have to catch yourself, you know. And one time I was saying something to, hey, matter of fact, a driver, you know, and put it this way, you know, I check trucks in, and you know, this is a form of stereotype that I catch myself saying. I can't stand these far drivers. Automatically I hear them say, I'm like, oh my God. But the point is, my stereotypical mentality comes in because a lot of them can't back up. And it's frustrating. And a lot of them can't understand what you're saying. And that's frustrating. They want to work. I can't, you know, I get it. They got to take care of their family. So, but my mentality kicks in, oh, these foreigners. So you might not think you might think it's innocent, but really we're stereotyped, because we're gonna see him speak. That's it. Oh my gosh, it's gonna take a long time to back up. Oh man, you can't understand what I'm saying. But he's here, and a lot of times I have to be patient with him. Is it hard? Absolutely, sometimes. sometimes not just the ones who just really can't get it. And you have to sit there and, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this. You're trying to hurry them, get them in and out. But they have a certain time getting out. I tell you what they do understand though. You give them a contract fail. Hey, what's this? They understand that. But anything else, they're like, as soon as you give them a contract fail, they're upset. But you have to understand, I try my best to be patient, to do everything I can. If I have to catch myself when they come in. What's your name, sir? Steady. Okay, steady. I don't know how to spell it. I try to put like an X on the paper, something on circle. But one thing they do know is their phone number. Get their phone number, tell them to be on the dot. And the only ones that really make me upset about that, and this is where my stereotypical comes in. I'm talking about me now. When I tell them you be an hour before you load, it'd be 15 minutes to come on the dot. Hey, that doesn't get nothing going on it. I said an hour. Well, let me see how the truck's leaving. It's not your turn. That's when I first thing I say, doggone farm. So, am I a gift of association? Absolutely. But do I feel I'm right? Yes, but in a sense, I'm stereotyped because of his race, of course, his background, for his ethnicity. So, but that's something we have to deal with every day. You gotta learn how to catch yourself and be mindful of what you're saying. Whenever like I said, we went to a restaurant for our daughter's birthday earlier part of this year. I can't think of the name. It was right down from next to Harbor Freight. And we went in there. And it was like about 10 of us. And when we went in, they said, you know what? The other people ain't showing up. Get y'all this table. Well, we got the table. We had the biggest table in there. And this other couple came in, but they were like 45 minutes late. Well, the lady walked to the wait said, can they bundle up? We get one of those tables for us? And I heard them. And I said, I'm gonna see what you're gonna do. They said, no, man, you can't do that. Well, they pulled us some next chairs. They kind of gathered around a small table. But this lady was very adamant about getting us out of our seats like she owned the restaurant, or because she was Caucasian that she had more rights. And I mean, tell you, she just went on, and one guy came, stood up, and they started cracking little jokes. We was over at the table. My kids didn't hear, but I did. But you know what I did? I ate that food well, tipped the waiters well. They thanked us, and we left. A lot of people had to wait at the door. Some people walked off because I guess they thought since they came in, they should have got a first table. You don't own the restaurant. It's not yours. So the thing is, just because you see a black group with the whole table, we're paying. We're paying, just like you are. You might pay with a credit card or cash. We probably do the same thing. It's like we go in there, we say, well, thank you for the meal, ma'am. Tip my hat to you, and we walk out for free meal. We're paying. So the thing is, there's a stereotypical and racism still here? Absolutely. But, like I said, it's according how you handle it. I could have handled that in a way I could have sat there and just blasted people like that. I could have. But guess what? Kids in here, they were eating well. The food was good. Great service. So, and guess what? We tipped her well. They told, hey, come back, come see me. So the thing is, I couldn't worry about that at that point, but it's still, this was 2026. 2026. And it still happens. It's going to happen every day. I went to drop something off. And now I'm getting to that. I don't want to get to that. Something else. But anyway, we have to be more profound in what we say, what we do, how we carry ourselves. Like I said, I'm not going to be here long today. I'm about to end in a few minutes because the rest of the group's not here. But like I said, the podcast must go on. But we have to watch out what we do on being stereotyped. Watch out how people come at you. That's even in churches and everything. Because, like I said, you have to be mindful and be careful of yeah, I agree with that too, Tasha. She made it coming by. We don't get that from the driver. I mean, some of them, something I disagree, Tasha. Some of them they do. They come in thinking they're supposed to come straight in and get on the dot. So some of them are a little bit irate because they feel they're should come in and go. I know what you're saying that some of them they don't give it to us. Oh yes, they do. Some of them do. I know you're down there, but I deal with a lot of them as well right here.
That's what you said.
Huh?
That's what you said.
Well, she did say that.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I agree with you, Tasha. Chris, I read wrong. I agree with you. They feel that when they come in, that they're privileged enough to just hurry up and get there. You know, I think a lot of them feel that they're real dumb Americans, so they give a lot of stereotype to us. So, like I said, stereotype and racism collide together. They're like a married couple. Be careful. Be mindful. Watch your surroundings. Watch you say, think before you say something. I know, and I'm about to, like I said, wrap it up. I told a driver the other day, came by, and I said, hey, I said, don't come through the parking lot. And so he kept, what? I said, don't come through. I got down to start point. He said, you think I'm stupid? And so he came back around. I was on 27. The other three was coming behind. And I mean to tell you, you know, I let him have it. But then I saw him yesterday, came back the same load, same route. How you doing, boss? But the thing was, he was chewing me up like I had called him out his name. I did. I just told him I'll come through the parking lot because that's what he was heading. And he kept saying, I think he's stupid because I was giving him hand gestures. I didn't know he could speak English or not. I stereotyped him as being a foreigner. I stereotyped him and he couldn't understand me. But he let me know. So when he came back around, we went through that same conversation and it went my way, not his. So, you know, he understood those words. But anyway, after he understood that, he came back yesterday. He was, hey, boss, where you go, boss? Hey, boss, how you doing, boss? They quick to tell you that. Hey, boss, especially when they mess up. Why you come through that way? All right, first day here, boss. Okay, sign says do not enter. See, I'm thinking he's foreign, he can't read. He can read. It's just he want to do his own thing. So, um, but, you know, like I said, we have to be mindful of what we're saying, what we're doing. And just want to get on here today, just kind of bring that up, kind of the event just happened to me the other day. Uh, and another event, like I said, I went to look at, matter of fact, when we bought the Yukon last year, and I heard the guy tell the other, I was next door, I was in one cubby hole, I was got another. I was outside that cubby hole, and he told me, he said, look, I'm gonna give you 3 months off. And this was him and the manager, the head guy. 3 months off for your first note. I said, okay. So my dealer came back, he said, Mr. We're gonna try. I said, but look, I want he got him 3 months off. So we called the manager and said, hey, I want 3 months off like he got when I make this deal. And I said, I'm not saying I'm buying a 21, you know, top line is better, but I want what he got. He walked off the dealer came, he said he can't do that. I said, you keep the truck. I walked out. A week later, he called me, 7 o'clock in the morning, dealership, about 6:45 on Thursday. I ain't had time to go. That Friday, I got a call from supervisor. She said, hey, Dexter, you know, you got to stay over 12 hours fine. They blew me up. So I told Chris, going over there. When I got there, he knocked $5,000 off the deal and gave me 3 months off. So the thing is, we didn't have to go through all that. If you gave him that, you should say, you know what, Mr. Woods, I'm gonna do the same thing. But we still got the stereotype mindset. Hey, he gonna get privileged, you're not. So a lot of times you gotta stand up for what you believe in. And that's one thing I will always do. You know, a lot of people try to stereotype this podcast. Oh man, you gonna make it. You know, everybody got a podcast. Okay, congratulations to them. Do they have this one? No, they don't. So that being said, like I said, I had to come on today. Podcast must go on, rain, sleet, or snow. Godzilla coming in the backyard, want to shoot some dice. It don't make a difference. I'm gonna beat him anyway in the dice game. But or you want to play rock paper scissors? Well, his arm right up here. But one of the other podcast still must go on. We're gonna have a great topic next week. We should have a guest on. I know some people want to talk about this situation. I know we have mentioned that before. We try to get that guest on. I know he's been working because he had experience with that. He wants to talk about that. But someone also wants to talk about some sports. We got a lot of great comments on that. I think we're gonna we'll juggle it up. We'll have a topic by Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll start posting, or we're gonna start posting topics early. That way you get yourself prepared for it, get your mind ready for it, get us ready for it. Like I said, you will start seeing more snippets on YouTube, snippets on Facebook. we're going through all that. Now, still have to say again, congratulations to us for representing the podcast at the business class start coming to fourth place. Um, like I said, we're a growing podcast. We see all the numbers every day. We're working and seeing where it went from December to just 2 people to January to 5 people to now to 630 some followers and viewers still growing. So we're coming straight out MOBILE-Al, straight here, straight out of Mobile. We're not changing how big we get. We're still gonna be Mobile, Alabama. Again, check us out on Facebook. This fly want to have something to say. Too late. I'm almost through. Check us out on Facebook, IG. You can scan Linktree and join. Uh, YouTube. Soon we're going to be Spotify. So our goal is later online being in syndication on radio. That will happen. Everything I'm saying will happen. People will see it. People will know what By the Grill podcast. Our apparel will be out. Everything. We're gonna take this thing to another level it's never been. I see a bunch of stuff. I've seen record producing, you name it. By the Grill podcast production. So look for us. We're gonna be there. We come and we will represent Mobile to the fullest. Like I said, praying shots go out and prayers for Devon, his family. Uh, Prayers for lunch, get a transportation together and everything, so sometimes you can't make it. And that's not an issue. Every day is like issues. We all have them. I have them. You have them. Everybody have them. It's according how you handle them, and you handle them the best way you can. So that being said, everybody knows dispatcher goes down, podcast is over. See y'all next Sunday.